This is our first inaugural Facebook Live, of course, and we made it through. Yay! So we're going to talk about installation tips for the enhanced formula of Fusion Pro. The benefits of the horizontal, vertical grouting, the shower floor benefits, and then the team approach, how you can improve your production rates by using a team approach to grouting with Fusion Pro. One of the best kept secrets we're going to cover is using Grout Release, not just for Fusion Pro, but for any grouting job. Meanwhile, we have our team of technical services representatives standing by to take any of your comments or questions. So please send them in as we go throughout this program, and we may pick yours to answer here live. Now, what I'd like to do is the improved handleability of Fusion Pro is one of the key elements that we wanted to cover in that formula enhancement. The cleanability, the improved open time was a big challenge in this chemistry category. We wanted to work on that, which we have. And then ultimately, when it dries, it provides a denser joint. So that improves, believe it or not, the stain resistancy of that particular grout joint after it's cured. When we talk about grout release, we want to cover the benefits, especially with the new textured tiles of today, the nano coatings, the micro pore structures. It makes cleanup twice as fast. It saves the time. You don't have to pre-wipe the tile if you've applied the grout release. And ultimately, and most importantly, I think, it's going to give you a much better grout job, fuller grout joints, because you don't have to overwork it to clean the grout residue off of that tile. So what I'd like to do now is I would like to introduce our contractor of the day. This is our first contractor, not just a contractor though. Let me introduce him and let him tell you himself. Marty, thanks for coming out.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marty.
Hi everybody, my name's Marty. I'm a lifelong tile guy. I currently got off of my hands and knees and I work for one of the large distribution companies in town. So I'm now on the other side trying to help people learn how to do this the right way. Fusion Pro is a great product, and I was very happy to come in and help Will out.
We appreciate that, Marty. So Marty not only has used Fusion Pro, but still uses it on the weekends, don't you, Marty?
I unfortunately still get out. I didn't sell my tools. Family and friends know. They call me.
Yeah,
So.
Once you're a contractor, you're always a contractor.
Yes.
Right. So he's using it and selling it. That's awesome. So Marty, let's talk about Grout Release first. Have you used the Grout Release before?
I have, and
Okay.
what a difference it makes.
Right?
It is night and day.
Night
completely
and day.
different.
It's like one of the biggest kept secrets, and I don't even know why.
Yeah, I mean, we always worry that grout's going to dry on top of the tile with cement-based grout or Fusion Pro.
Right, any grout, yeah.
This takes care of that problem hands down.
It puts that layer in between, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, Marty, if you would just show everyone here how easy it is to use and how you prefer to apply it. We've already got some in here, so we don't even need to pour any in
All right.
there.
Well, so always use a very short nap roller. It's extremely important that you don't leave too much material on the top of the tile. When you roll it out, you want to make sure you're not oozing down the sides of the tile. Really don't want to have, the whole idea is that this is going to help the grout not stick. We want the grout to stick to the sides of the tile. That's all part of it.
Right, right.
So when we're applying, just like if you were painting, you're going to do the W or the V and come back and fill in your places in between.
So we want a thin coat, a thin to win, if you will.
Just a thin coat.
I
just
love
a thin
it.
coat. If you get a heavy spot, just grab your roller, drag it back across. If you end up with some that slides down in between, just grab a towel, wipe it off. You don't want any puddles. Puddles are not your friend.
No puddles, thin to win. When I think of the roller, Marty, I think of the benefit that I don't have to be on my knees with a sponge swiping it on.
Well, and if you're doing this in a shower, you can use the foam paintbrushes. You can use a sponge as well, but you want to, again, be careful not to apply too much of it.
Right, so how fast does the Grout Release typically dry for you?
For me, anywhere, depending on the tile, 15 to 30 minutes max. It's going to look like it's dry, maybe even after 5 minutes, but you want to make sure it's got a good cure on it.
Fantastic. So we have a viewer question. Marty covered what happens if you get too much in the grout joint. This question, what happens if I get a little bit in my grout joint? Well, Marty, what would you say to that question?
I would say then it's nothing to worry about.
I agree. Not too much of a worry if we get a little bit of grout release in there.
No.
Quite honestly, it's probably expected, right?
I think it's expected.
Absolutely.
There's no way you're going to be perfect with all of it. And it's not going to hurt anything.
We're not perfect
You just
all
don't
the
want
time.
a puddles.
Right.
No, perfect some of the time is good.
Exactly. Okay, we're going to grab this panel over here, Marty. So let me bend this, and you want to go over here, and I'll set this out of the way. And what we've got now is we've got a panel. Marty's bringing it in. We kind of did a cooking show thing here where we have one tile without grout release, and we've got one tile here with grout release. So Marty, I'll let you do the honors.
All right.
And we're just basically going to kind of show you how it works, how it actually works. We're going to apply some of this Fusion Pro. And I think I got my glove on a little early because I'll help clean it later. But go ahead, Marty.
So I'm just going to apply a little bit of it across the top of the tile.
There we go. And you go ahead and do that side.
All right, we'll do the same thing
I'm
on
going
this
to be
side.
Michael Jackson for the next 5 minutes here.
Just one glove?
You're just one glove in it, yeah. You probably remember that from high school, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I was
Michael
way
Jackson.
out of high school then.
Okay. All right, so we're going to let this cook right now, if you will. We're going to let it set and get some dry time. Meanwhile, Marty, we improved the formula for hangability, the ability to hang going in vertical joints. It's going to address those wider joints that we rarely see, but we can see on with some inset Listellos and things like that, but also to help reduce the waste. So if you would be so kind as just give us a quick demonstration on the application of the Fusion Pro vertically.
So don't need to put a lot on your grout float. You're gonna smear it, and then you're just gonna come right back across it and cut it off.
Beautiful. Now, we did not seal or we didn't put grout release on this tile. We didn't feel it needed it. We didn't test it, but we just kind of went for it. Marty's experience, he said, probably doesn't need it at all. We're going to go for it. Don't even worry about it. So you can see it's hanging pretty well in those joints.
I can say that it does move much easier across the tile with grout release on it. It does make a huge difference.
It does. And never use water. Okay, it doesn't need it. It's actually engineered into the formula that as you move that Fusion Pro across the surface, it may start stiff, but it's going to begin to loosen up a bit from that movement action. That's called shear thinning. That's part of the engineered formula. So it looks good, Marty. I think that's enough for right now. So why don't we go ahead and we're going to start doing some tile setting over here, or should we clean it first?
Well, let's go ahead and wipe some off.
Well, let's clean it, because with Fusion Pro, that's one of the things about it, right? It's a one and done approach. You want to install the Fusion Pro, clean it, then move on to the next section. So not a lot of water, never a lot of water in the cleaning of any grout, right?
I wrung almost all the water out of the sponge.
Right.
You don't want any water running down your walls that's going to go down and get into your floor or anything
grout
else.
joints, yeah, it's gonna
You just want to just give it a nice little, fill the joints, make them nice and even. Do a little clean on the surface of the tile, but it's really more we're massaging the joints.
Massaging it, so not a whole lot of pressure. Don't want to dish it out of that grout joint.
Very little.
Kind of like steering that grout float, steering that sponge, right?
Right.
That looks good. So here, let's wring it out. Or no, you know what? You got.
No, I got a clean side still.
There you go.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a wipe.
Nice light wipe. Let's get some water on that guy. And then one of the other tricks for Fusion Pro that works really well, and it actually works well for epoxy grouts, kind of where it came from, is the fact that you can use the old towel drag method. And I'll get this ready for you. Now, we all know that you can do that on the floor or horizontally without a problem. How can you do a towel drag vertically? Marty's going to show us the trick.
We're just going to use another grout float.
Just going to use another grout float that's clean. Could be the same one.
So make it easy. You can always hang your grout float in your bucket and lay it over, or you can just grab it just like this. Use half of it and grab it with your thumb.
There you go. That looks great. And show me what you got here, Marty. Let's see. Nice and look at this. Watch that.
Nice and flat, even pressure.
Doesn't dig into your grout joints.
Nice and clean. So you're not done. All you got to do is drag it up just a little bit more.
So let's show them how much that picked up real quick. Look at this. Right? Okay.
And the wall is
I tell you what, let's not even worry about that. Let's go back here. I want to see what's going on with
All right, let's see what we got.
Yes. Now we're going to have some fun here. We are going to do a little contest and see whose comes off easier.
You got your one glove on?
I got my one glove on.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go ahead. I'm going to, oh yeah. This is one of those grabby tiles. For sure would want to use a grout release on this guy. Now I can work this off, but I think you're winning, Marty.
You know, I've won.
Yeah.
I've already won.
I think you've already won.
I can see that everything, if I were massaging my grout joint, my residue on the surface of my tile is just that. It's just residue.
Look.
You've still got grout on your tile.
Look at that. Wow.
Done.
Best kept secret.
Yeah. Done
Hopefully
deal.
not anymore, right?
Hopefully not anymore. Please, if you're using this. Oh, we have a viewer question.
Oh, viewer question. Do I add water to loosen the grout? Absolutely not. Never needed. That's that shear
Never.
thinning that we were just talking about that's engineered into that Fusion Pro. As a matter of fact, we want less water. Less water with all grouts. That's the biggest challenge in the market that we see on a regular basis is overwashing, too much water on the grout joints. So now what we'd like to do is first we want to thank Marty. Marty, we really appreciate you coming in, as always.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
Keep on grouting, keep on selling, and keep on helping our industry. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me in.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
We're going to cut away to a shower install now and meet one of our other contractors. So in the meantime, you're going to see a graphic on screen, and I'll meet you over there. And while I meet you over there, you're going to check out our resources on our website at custombuildingproducts.com. We have lots of how-to instructional pieces for the Fusion Pro for other grouts, hot weather, cold weather tips. We also have our YouTube channel. Excellent resource. I like to send my guys there to take 3-minute videos and keep up on the new technologies and new processes and the new standards of our industry. Things are changing very quickly. Even with this new category of grout, they're changing, the polymer technology. It's absolutely incredible. So we're going to move out to the shower install, and we're going to meet our other contractor, and we are up. Here you are. We're all going to hit the showers. Howard,
Will,
pleasure.
nice to
Thank you
meet
very
you.
much. We appreciate you coming out.
No worries.
Excellent. So Howard, contractor, what's your experience, Howard? What are you doing these days?
These days, a lot of residential remodels, but we've also done a lot of commercial buildings, lots of 12 by 12, quarry tile, lots of little things like that.
Ooh, quarry tiles, a lot of epoxy grout?
Oh, yes, we use a lot of epoxy grout too.
3-part epoxy, right?
3-part epoxy, which is kind of dying down, but yes.
Thankfully, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Howard, you're going to show us. I see that you've got the walls grouted. He's got his floor protected like we should always do. So we're going to get this out of the way, and then Howard's going to show us some of the grouting processes that he does on a regular basis. And I'm just going to kind of get down here with him. Now, Howard, this is a pretty common shower floor type tile, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
2x2 is a normal standard install in any kind of a shower.
Right, right. So, Fusion Pro, how well does it go into those 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch joints?
These are about 1/8 of an inch, and it actually works in pretty well. It's nice to work at a 45-degree angle to your joint,
Right.
and just make sure you work it both ways so that it actually is working in both ways. And just make sure that you get every joint as you go. It's easier to use 2 hands for myself because it is a little bit, just works in better for me.
Works in better, so not any harder than a normal grout, and most certainly a lot easier than an epoxy grout, right?
Yes, normal grout the same way. It's just this, you got to work a little bit quicker, a smaller area, which about 2x4, 2x5 area. And
So this is a once and done approach.
yes, you do not have to come back to seal this once it's all done, and it's just a little bit quicker than a regular sanded grout, even for me.
Right, so we install it and we clean it, then we move on, we're all done with it, no sealing, none of that stuff. So
Nope.
Howard, is it easier than the 3-part epoxies that you use?
Very much easier. 3-part epoxy. It's always just
Right.
hurry up and run.
Right, okay. So some of the things that we enhanced on the formula is its ability to perform better under water exposure. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to wait for it to cure. It means that once it's cured, it's going to perform much better in those intermittent wet areas like shower floors, bathroom floors, laundry rooms, things like that. And we can see Howard's going ahead and starting his slurry coat. We have a question. How long until the shower can be used? How long, Howard, how long do you tell your customers to wait before they can use a shower floor?
Normally, I would tell them about 7 days for the stuff to properly cure up,
Right.
and it strengthens the grout.
It strengthens and believe it or not, it strengthens everything, the waterproofing, the bonding mortar, the entire assembly. Thank you, Howard. We appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in, and keep up the good grouting out there, will you?
All right, thank you.
All right. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to introduce a very special guest. I'd like to introduce our Senior Director of Technical Services, Mr. Mike Michelizzi. Mike?
Thanks, Will. Thanks, Will.
Thank you. Take it away.
Thanks, folks. We're glad to have you with us. We know that every time that there's a new technology in the market, there's always a learning curve. So the custom technical team is here for you. We're here from 6 o'clock till 4:30 on Pacific time. We're here. We've got 20 people in our technical group. We're have experienced contractors with over 500 years of experience, so we'll be able to answer all of your questions. So our next section is we're going to help you on your commercial projects. When you're installing in a large production method, you really need to make some time. So the team approach is very important, that you have all the critical spots in place. And that usually consists of at least 3 persons in order to take care of all of the major steps of installing Fusion Pro. Now, you're going to use the same application techniques that we've been showing you for the smaller projects, but now you're going to have each person responsible for their individual position in this team. So what we have, as you can see here in our group, is we have one person is spreading the grout, and because Fusion spreads very easy, you have one person can spread ahead of 2 other persons. Your second person is slurrying it, just as we showed earlier, using a little bit of water, getting the grout to move a little bit around on the surface, and break it down, clean up the little bit that he can with a sponge. And then we have our third person who goes by with the microfiber towel, and he picks up all of the residue, so that tomorrow you won't have that grout haze. Now, as the third person is waiting for the first and second person, he can go around and get new water, switch out water, and help. And if you have more persons, even better. What we'd like to do now is talk to Tom Adams. And Tom is very familiar with Fusion Pro. He's worked with a lot of contractors and helped them to understand the team method, the production method of Fusion Pro. Tom, maybe you could tell us, how many square feet can a group like this, 3 people on tile of that kind of size, what can you do in a day?
So Mike, we've been on jobs where they can get upward to 1,500 square feet. It's depending on how large the area is, how open the area is, and the type of tile it is. Working with 3 men, though, definitely picks up the production.
And you know, with every technology, there's some tips and tricks. On a large project routine, when you do this fast track method, what are some tips that you could share with the contractors?
Well, the grout release, of course, we saw earlier, that's the #1 tip. Using the grout release allows these guys to have more working time on the surface of the tile. In bigger areas where you may have air flow and things like that, it's going to help out quite a bit. Also, clean water is your next best friend. So having clean water, changing your buckets out, that's going to help. So you don't have any residue, you walk away, and your grout's going to be nice and clean.
So in any of these installations, you're used to cement grout. There are different ways to do cement grout. You have to wait for it to cure, wait for it to set before you wash it. There's a different technique. So is it any easier than working with cement grout?
Well, some of the things that are easier would be the color consistency of it. So we're working out of a bucket that never changes color. Sometimes on these commercial jobs, we have to come back and we have to do repairs. We have to fill in an area that wasn't ready for us. That color consistency is always there with this grout.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks for your help.
Thank you,
Thanks
Mike.
for your demonstration, Tom. Well, we consider how Fusion Pro is new to the market, and all of these tips and tricks are going to be there to help you to be successful. What we'd like to do now is recap some of the things we learned today so you can remember them on your next Fusion Pro project. Let's turn our attention over to Mr. Will White.
Thank you, Mike. And hey, don't forget, you can continue to send in your questions and comments. Our tech team will reply. And I'm going to just do a quick recap of what we covered. Today, what we talked about was one of my favorite tips and tricks, Grout Release. Can't stress that enough for the cost. It's so nominal. It's pennies. It takes minutes to coat the floor, and the value of it just goes miles and miles. You cut your cleanup time in half, and you'll get much, much better results on your grout joints. The Fusion Pro Enhanced Formula. This grout category is just continuing to evolve. Things will only get faster and easier as we go about, and that's what this formula brings, that next level of cleanability, handleability, open time, and improved hydration as those polymers cross-link. You're gonna get much denser grout joints. So we wanna thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to check out our website and YouTube, and we look forward to seeing you, and thank you for your partners, and being a partner. See you on our next Facebook Live. Thanks again. Keep on grouting.